Welcome back, fans of the Roundtable Boys. It's the
Hey.
Roundtable Boys.
Hey, it's us.
Today, we're going to be talking about a perfect TV show. Obviously, it's Clone Wars Quickie time.
Let's address the elephant in the room, Jacob. Did you enjoy this episode of Clone Wars Quickie? Or not Clone Wars Quickie, Clone Wars, sorry.
One, of course I loved Clone Wars Quickie. I'd love it enough to give it a like on YouTube and a rating on Apple Podcast. Second.
Well said.
Yes, I did love this episode.
I think this is potentially the greatest episode of the Clone Wars to date. But before we talk about that, how about you guys join us at the round table?
There's no better place to start than, honestly, probably the best 10 minutes of Clone Wars so far. Obviously, it's ready to be trumped. That's okay if it is. When Ahsoka and Darth Maul are sitting in the throne room talking is just when this episode put pedal to the metal and just became excellent.
Honestly, I didn't really think that even the opening parts were bad. Like, that's definitely towards, like, the end of the episode, and I cannot lie to you. That is the best part of the episode. By freaking a million miles. But even her opening talk with Maul in, like, the sewers was so good.
Yeah, it was, but man, it was. You know, he's talking about it's all part of the plan. Sidious is behind the whole thing. You know, obviously, that's just the start of the bigger conversation. The conversation in the throne room. I have never felt more sorry for Ahsoka, but also nervous that she was going to join Maul for a second. But I knew it didn't happen, but I was like, man, what if she did? You know, whatever. Anyway, when he was like, he's been grooming his new apprentice Skywalker, and you're like, no, I'm sorry, Ahsoka. You didn't have to learn this way.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've watched Rebels, you know, she thought that it was, she still kind of believed deep down it wasn't true. Or she believed deep down she knew Maul was right. You know, but the whole talking scene where he's like, you know, we were both pawns used for a greater force. That was great, you know, because obviously we've seen the collapse of the Jedi, or seen like the corruption of the Council and how they were used as soldiers. And yeah, that was a great scene.
True. I think that we have to talk about just how freaking incredible. What's his name? Sam Witwer? Is he the one who voices Maul? He freaking has so much range in his voice. It is unbelievable. Like, Maul is so well voiced that it almost, like, shines. It makes the other people who talk in the Clone Wars feel so, like, I don't know, mediocre in comparison. It's like, when you hear, what's her face? The Mandalorian girl, I always forget her name. Bo-Katan, when I'm not saying that the person who voices her is bad in the slightest. I think she's actually doing just a great job. But, like, you'll hear her talk to Maul, and then Maul will be like, let me die! You're all going to burn! We're all going to die! You don't know what you're doing! You're like, holy crap, this guy can really act. And then that pairing with Ahsoka, which is probably one of the other best voice characters in the whole thing, make for such an emotional, like, coming together. They bounce off of each other so much better than I could have imagined that they would. You know, because we've never seen really Ahsoka and Maul even communicate or be in the same room at all. But they have a lot of on-screen chemistry together, and it was a joy to watch.
So I have two things to add to that. One, I think what Whitwer does with Maul's character and the way he like embodies his emotion and his anger, like the way that in the Clone Wars and beyond, when Maul steps in a room, people are scared. You know, this guy's former Sith apprentice. Now he runs an underground black market. Essentially, he has an army made of some of the best warriors ever. He demands to be heard. His voice fills the room, and they do that excellently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think he is a huge reason that Maul became this. I mean, obviously, he's a fan favorite because he has a double-bladed lightsaber. But just we see his story completely in Clone Wars, and obviously some in Rebels. But we get the gist of it in Clone Wars, and like how he lived on Sith rage. He lost his brother. He's a ruler, but he's also like pretty much crazy because of Palpatine. You know, because he knows he was used only as a murder weapon. And my second point, that's really one before I start my second point. That's part of the reason I love Maul so much. You know, he's just such an interesting character and he's got so much depth to him. But only in Clone Wars and Rebels, which some people still haven't watched. Like they only know as Maul from the double-bladed lightsaber guy.
Yeah.
You know, but just the character that Dave Filoni built. It's really great. Really great. My second point. This isn't a point. This is a fun fact I saw on Reddit. They were originally going to have the guy who was Darth Maul in episode 1 voice this episode, but they ended up going with Whitwer because, like, he does it so well.
Honestly, I would have been more disappointed if the what's his name, Ray Park.
Race, yeah, I think that's it.
Didn't he do the mocap?
He did.
But I would have been way more disappointed if Whitwer wasn't voicing him. That's the Maul that I love.
Yeah, Whitwer is my Darth Maul.
Whitwer is my Darth Maul. Just like Matt Lantner is my Anakin, my all-time Anakin. Whitwer is my all-time Darth Maul. All right, so I have two things that I kind of want to bring up, just to mention before we get to obviously the coolest part of the entire episode, which was the fight scene. But I got two things I want to talk about. One, Maul abducts Jesse in this episode. And we don't really get to see what happens. We get to see that Jesse isn't going to tell Maul things, and then Maul's like, ha ha ha, you think you have a choice. And then we see Jesse saying that he told them everything. Now, I think it's important to realize who Jesse is as a clone. One of the older clones, one of the clones we've been following since the very, very beginning of the show. I mean, he's back in season 2, I think. And obviously, he was 501st. He was friends with both Rex and, most importantly, for my theory that I've just came up with, Fives, right? Now, when was the last time we saw Fives? Oh, yeah. When he had discovered the inhibitor chips. When he had figured out Order 66 and what it was going to be. And was silenced. But I forget which clone he ran into at the bar. It might have been Jesse. I don't think it was. But I think if logic serves correctly here, that word would probably spread of what he was saying. Because, I mean, that was his friend. He would probably know at least a gist of what he was doing. Or he knew very deep down within every clone about the inhibitor chips. I have a good feeling that Maul knows about the inhibitor chips. I have a good feeling Maul knows exactly what the clones are going to do. And let's think here, right? Because we know for a fact that Rex does not do Order 66. He does not shoot Ahsoka. We know that from the Ahsoka book. And we know that from Rebels. So, how? If he has the chip in him, which he does, because it shows his face in this and he has no scar, like he does in Rebels. So he has not removed the chip yet. I have a feeling that Maul will remove it for him. I have a feeling that Ahsoka's going to be talking to Maul in interrogation this next episode. Things are going to come out. She's going to try to frantically warn people. That's going to be when Rex gets his chip out. That's my theory. That's my little film theory for you. Obviously, that's not confirmed, and honestly, I'm probably really wrong. But that's kind of what I'm thinking might happen.
I think that's a very good theory because I still like if that isn't what happens with the inhibitor chips, I don't know what will.
Because also, here's my real concern, right? We see 3 clones in Rebels, right? We see Rex, Wolf, and what's his face? Is it Gregor? I think it's Gregor.
Yeah.
And they've all got their chips removed, which I think is kind of odd. I wonder when Wolf does. I wonder if we'll get to see him do it. You know what I mean?
I think they might. That might just need to be included because if not, it doesn't make any sense how he got to Rebels.
Yeah, that's kind of like that's kind of where I am. So I wonder if like Rex will try to tell people, and some clones will listen. A lot of clones won't. You know what I think would be freaking awesome and insane is if Rex is frantically trying to reach Cody. But Cody's actually a little bit busy. He's on Utapau. And can't take Rex's transmission and ends up then obviously murdering or attempting to murder Obi-Wan. I think that'd be a very cool way to tie that in.
That would be sad.
But it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And that kind of...
that'd be sad.
Yeah, and that right there kind of leads to my second point that I think we need to talk about, and that's the scene where Obi-Wan is talking to Ahsoka over the hologram. 1, it is incredibly amazing how interconnected this arc is with Revenge of the Sith, happening side by side, and the subtle things to let you know where Revenge of the Sith is at the same time, like what Ahsoka's doing at the same time as the characters in Revenge of the Sith, you know? I think that's really cool and really well done. It talks about Anakin getting a mission to spy on the Chancellor. Ahsoka obviously knows that Anakin is not going to like that very much, and it talks about Obi-Wan being sent to Utapau to fight Grievous. This is just so cool to me, the interconnected nature of this episode, how well the Clone Wars is transitioning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna be weird to watch Revenge of the Sith now, and it was weirder to watch it after you completed the first round of the Clone Wars. But once this is done, it's gonna put a Revenge of the Sith in an entirely new light, which is gonna be very interesting. I can't wait to watch it. I'm gonna watch it right after,
especially after Order 66 and whatnot.
Yeah,
you know, because I think we're gonna get another look at it. You know, it's probably gonna make it worse.
It will.
Probably gonna make it worse. And I also Order 66 is for sure in this next episode because they released these clips from it.
And
I don't know if you've seen it, but the new one came out today.
I've not. Let me look it up.
Oh my goodness. It's a good one, and it's right from the trailer from where Ahsoka's on the bridge. And then she feels Order 66. It's like, I think this takes place right before that, the clip they took. It's her and Rex talking. And it has Rex talk. I won't ruin it for you.
I'll watch it right after this podcast. Sorry if you guys wanted to know what was talking about. Watch it yourselves.
Yeah, if you watch this, you've probably seen it already. But it's great. It's great. I was getting all in the feels, and I didn't even watch the episode.
So now I think it's time to talk about the best part of this episode, which was the fight scene. And Jacob, what do you think about this fight scene? Do you think it's the best in the show?
Yes. I am ready to say it. I was, we talked about it a little bit in our last episode, and I was like, I doubt it. That's tall order, seeing how many great fight scenes are in Clone Wars. Yeah, I think this one takes a cake. Just, they had real people do it.
and that
It
made all the
looks
difference.
it looks so natural. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Darth Maul's excellent in it. Ahsoka is excellent in it. The voice acting during the fight is unreal. The fight when they're like above Mandalore. Excuse me, I just had a hiccup. The fight when they're above Mandalore is so good as well. But the one in the throne room is specifically the one I'm looking at when I think about when I'm gonna think of this episode. This is the scene I'm gonna think of. You
Yeah.
know, because the physicality of the fight, the way that they had the two interact, the way they had Ahsoka like force her lightsaber under Darth Maul's legs and him like flip over it, that was unreal. So good.
I mean, you're just right. You're just right in every way. It was probably my favorite duel in all of the Clone Wars, I think. And definitely not my favorite duel in all of Star Wars because I mean, Anakin and Obi-Wan on Mustafar is a tall order. But honestly, this will be top 5 for me in all of Star Wars.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this. Darth Maul is now in 4 of my 6 favorite lightsaber duels in Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess four
True.
out of 7 because if I had to go through and look at lightsaber duels, 1 is obviously Anakin and Obi-Wan. 2, just because I'm a little biased because it's live action. I'll be honest with it. I'm a little biased. Is Luke and Darth's in Episode 6 because man, is that it's so emotionally charged. But that's for another podcast. And then this, even though I do think this is the best lightsaber fight in this show, I don't think it's the best animated lightsaber fight. To me, you know, emotional Jacob, I still have to go with Darth Maul's last one with Obi-Wan. It's short, but just all of the signals, the throwbacks, everything about that fight is great. And it's going to be hard for someone to change my mind that one is better. That the Siege of Mandalore one with Ahsoka and Darth Maul is better than Darth Maul and Obi-Wan's last.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that both of them are good in really their own ways. And I don't even know if that'd be a fair comparison. Like I don't even know what I would pick in my wildest dreams because they're so vastly different, you know.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, do you have anything to add?
No, I think this episode is pretty self-explanatory. All we can do is wait for the next. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I don't remember being this excited about waking up on a Friday morning. You know?
Yeah, I do know. I know exactly what you're saying. But with that, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please join our Discord. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Do the things. Check the description.
Like the video. Leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts if you're about that life. And obviously, we've got the last 2 episodes of Clone Wars, so get ready for the last 2 episodes of Clone Wars Quickie. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.